It's Red Eye Radio. Talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios. For Gary McNamara and Eric Harley, Dan Mandis, this is Red Eye Radio.
866-90 Red Eye is the phone number, 866-907-3339. I host a morning show in Nashville, Tennessee on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is on 6 to 10 Eastern, 5 to 9 Central. And if you want to check it out, you can. We are on all the streaming apps, and you can also see the radio show if you like. We are on YouTube and Facebook and Rumble and our website, 997WTN.com. Did you see, I should have tweeted this out. I'm going to tweet this out real quick. But did you see that Gail King ended up on the same flight as Jesse Watters from Fox News? Now, the reason I bring this up isn't because I have an appreciation for Gail King. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't. But I thought it was interesting because she actually posted on Twitter that she was on the same flight with Jesse and that she took a photo of him with her on the plane. And what was crazy is that simply posting the photo of she and Jesse Watters absolutely melted down the left. It's kind of sad, actually, when you think about it. Gail King posted a selfie alongside Fox News star Jesse Watters as the two happened to be on the same cross-country flight on Monday, prompting harsh criticism from liberals online. King, the CBS Mornings co-host, was photographed smiling beside Watters on the plane, joking that the two TV people from competing networks were seated together on a 4-hour flight. So Jesse Watters is, as I just mentioned, he's in the photo, and he's smiling, and so is Gail King. And I feel like as I'm looking at this photo, Jesse is smiling like, yeah, Gail King is going to post this on social media, and she is going to get crucified. But I'm going to smile, and that's what he did, and that's what she did, and people lit her up. Now, I believe that I am as conservative as they come. I'm just going to tell you, I'm as conservative as they come. But I would never, if Jesse Watters posted his own version of sitting on a plane with Gail King, I would never say the following. Nah, Jesse, this ain't it. Or, let's see, ew is another. In other words, all of the Gail King fans on the left vilified her for even posting a picture with Jesse Watters. And again, I actually saw Jesse talking about this on Fox News. I looked for the audio, couldn't find it. But he basically said, yeah, you know what? Gail King is a, nice person. He said something to that effect. And do you know what I thought? When I heard Jesse Watters say that Gail King was a nice person? Nothing. I walked into the kitchen and I made a sandwich. You know what I mean? But it's the left. I talked earlier about, people on the left, and I felt like if they believe that a grown adult man, 17, 18 years old, should be in a boxing ring or a kickboxing ring with a woman, then that man is mentally ill. And I do believe that. I do believe that the people that believe that man should be in that ring with a woman is mentally ill. I believe that because I think that they're not looking at the broader ramifications. But people afflicted with TDS, right? Gail, this is not it. Another rapper, Talib Kweli, added, nah, Gail, this ain't it. Another account sneered, all Nazi Jesse does is lie. They say dozens of others, and I'm sure that it's hundreds by now, piled on. Oprah's tone-deaf bestie is not reading the room. A third declared no principles. Not that I ever expected anything from her, Gail King. Some accused King of trying to impress her new boss, CBS News chief Barry Weiss, who has signaled plans to overhaul the network's news operation. I mean, good Lord. Another one. So she has no problems being friendly and sociable with a radical right-wing extremist shill who lies pathologically to the American public in order to assist in getting people to vote against humanity. Theirs and everyone else's. No kings, including Gail. I mean, they just go on and on. Another one says gross. Another one, Gail King never passes up on an opportunity to not make sense. And you see where this is going, right? What I don't know, and I don't follow Gail King on Twitter, nor do I care to, but I do wonder if you follow Gail King, go to her on X and see if she still has that picture of she and Jesse Waters up, or if she took it down. Because she was getting hammered. I hope that she left it up. And you know what? If I was walking down the street and I took a photograph with AOC, I would absolutely post it. But you see, the left, again, in their mental illness, and I don't take that lightly. I don't like just throwing people down and saying, oh, these people are mentally ill because of where they stand politically. But the thing is, when you look at these folks and you look at what they stand for and you look at how they react, it does just make you wonder. Trump derangement syndrome, it really is a real thing. There's no other way to say that. And I want to play you some audio. I posted this on my social media. And I'm going to play this for no other reason than to just describe for you how just crazily insane people on the left are. Now, I had to do a lot of editing on this. I think it's a woman. A lot of F-bombs, a lot of S-bombs, but whatever this is, a man or a woman, I can't really tell, to be honest, you know. I'm going to say he, she, only because I have no clue. But he starts screaming at conservatives. Listen to this.
You're not even your own person. You're just a compilation of all the hatred that your father handed down to you, you dumb mother.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, and that was just a short part of this entire conversation that she was having. And so those are the kinds of things that are happening on the left. Those are the kinds of things that they are exhibiting to, as I would say, exhibiting mental illness. Because I think that he, she here has a lot of mental illness. And the more that they go on about Donald Trump and conservatives, the more that I believe that they will continue to exhibit that mental illness. Meantime, the debate rages on over the No Kings protest. This was on CNN. I love this, actually. This is a woman, a journalist, and her name is, and I'm probably gonna mess this up, but I think it's Batia Ungar Sargon. Now, she's a journalist and a commentator, and she was talking about the absolute absurdity of the No Kings protest. By the way, I believe there's been an update on the numbers, but listen to this.
These protests were overwhelmingly white. They were overwhelmingly elderly people, older people. Now, again, you know, white boomers have the right to have a mass therapy session about the fact that Donald Trump won. But to call it a No Kings protest, to act like he is a king, is so utterly preposterous. This is a man who won the popular vote.
Yep.
He won every swing state.
Yep.
He is a person who is enacting the exact agenda he promised he was going to enact while he was campaigning.
Yep.
And so what they are actually protesting is the absolute perfection of American democracy, where a person campaigned on an agenda, won the popular vote, and is now enacting that agenda. So it was actually a protest of democracy, all of which is to say the only way to greet such a preposterous proposition, calling this a no kings rally when it's actually an anti-democracy rally, is to crap on it. I'm sorry, is to basically make fun of it. And I think that that has been the Trump administration's approach. They didn't try to stop it, God forbid, because he's not a king. They allowed them to have their say. They allowed them to go out there, and then they made fun of them.
Absolutely. And that's the right way to handle it. I mean, that really is the video of Donald Trump, which he sent out. He put it on social media, of him flying the plane. Did you see that one? Donald Trump flying a plane and dropping what, looks like fecal matter on all of these crazed leftists. I thought it was funny as all get out. I absolutely loved it. And so now you've got all of these hand-wringing leftists. Can you defend this video that Donald Trump put on social media, dropping fecal matter on protesters? I'm sorry, but your side has been calling us Nazis and Hitler for years. I could give a crap if you're offended. I mean, honestly. It's like, do you hear yourself, Democrats? By the way, there is a woman on the socials, and let me see if I find her. She's famous, although I don't really know her that well. Data Republican, small r, Data Republican. Now, she is somebody who is really, 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 really good with numbers. And so she posted this on the socials because the media has been out there saying, 7 million people, right? I mean, that's what they've been saying. And I said last night, I think it was either here or on my morning show in Nashville, but I said at the time, I said, it may have been 7 million, may have been 6 million, may have been 1 million and 5 or 6 million paid protesters. I have no idea. But Data Republican small r, again, somebody who is famous on the internet for being able to crunch numbers, says this. The 7 million figure is their, quote, magic number because it crosses an imaginary 3.5% threshold used in political science. But that number doesn't hold up. In New York City, turnout was about 50,000. In Los Angeles, roughly 200,000. Together, those two cities represent about, listen to this, 30 million people, which translates to maybe 3 million participants nationwide at most, and that's assuming rural and suburban areas turned out at the same rate as urban centers. Realistically, there's no way that total comes to 7 million. And you know what? I was thinking about that too. So I want you to think about this because I know people listen in Los Angeles, KBC. So in Los Angeles, you've got a city of, millions and millions of people. I don't know how many people are in Los Angeles proper, but you've got Southern California, right? So you've got Los Angeles and you've got all of the suburbs. I mean, if you've ever flown into Los Angeles, basically LA goes from the ocean, the airport, the 405 freeway, and it just keeps going east and north and south as it connects to San Diego and so forth. And all they could convince to come out for the No Kings rally was 200,000? In the Democrat stronghold of California in Los Angeles, that's really not that many when you think about it. And again, I will say, how many of those people were paid? So the media is trying to make a really big deal about the No Kings rallies. The other thing that I would say is I find it interesting that they're out there talking about no kings, no kings, no kings, right? Okay. Well, Trump isn't. He said so, many times. But when you think about what a king is basically in power forever, right? Well, what do we see in the likes of Dianne Feinstein, who literally had dementia while she was in office in California, by the way? You've got Mitch McConnell falling down, walking through the hallways of Congress. You've got Nancy Pelosi, been there forever. You know what I'm talking about. You got these people in Congress. They are there forever like they are kings. And they certainly believe, at least some of them believe, that they are kings. 866-90-RED-EYE, 866-907-3339. We'll return next.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Surviving and thriving as an owner-operator has just as much to do with managing costs as it does with generating revenue. Like the chief financial officer of any company, you have to be concerned about rising costs, especially without increases in revenue. Trying to reduce costs, let alone make sense of them, can be a complicated task. Understanding basic principles of operating costs can save you thousands of dollars a year. A penny saved could be $1,000 earned. Saving just 1 penny per mile over 100,000 miles driven annually will deliver $1,000 to the bottom line at the end of the year. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
Red Eye Radio, 866-90-RED-EYE is the phone number. 866-907-3339. Coming up after the next break, we are going to talk about what is going on in Israel, as JD Vance is in Israel, and they're trying to figure out a way to get Hamas on board. And JD is on the case. Got some great audio from him, some audio from Donald Trump as well. So we're going to play that coming up after the news at about 36 minutes after the hour. One of the things that I love, though, about what's going on with JD Vance is that President Trump is putting him in these situations where he looks presidential. And I really think that that is going to work for JD Vance because, of course, everybody knows that he is the heir apparent. If you go to my Twitter feed on X, at Dan Mandis Show, you will see that I have a poll up there right now. And the poll is, do you believe that JD Vance has the goods to continue on with President Trump's MAGA movement? And last time I checked, it was a little bit ago, but last time I checked, it was like 95% of you believed that, yes, JD Vance has the goods, the MAGA goods, to continue on the MAGA movement. So I'm continuing to watch that. You can follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show. This headline, pardoned January 6er has been arrested for allegedly threatening the life of Hakeem Jeffries. Now, I'm going to read you this quote. I couldn't find the actual audio, but I'm going to read you this quote from Hakeem Jeffries. You ready? He says, I think the reckless and irresponsible pardon of hundreds of violent felons on January 6th has consequences. Now, I want you to think about this because you could twist this around so easily into Joe Biden, the border, and illegal aliens. I think the reckless and irresponsible opening of the southern border to violent felons for 4 years has consequences. And you just play this game for the entire 2 paragraphs that he talked about this because, you know, JD Vance is, I should say, Hakeem Jeffries. He's very upset about all of this. And righteously indignant, I think, is the way that I would describe it. So we're going to play that game coming up next. Also, the latest on Israel and JD Vance as he tries to continue to broker peace in the Middle East. It's all straight ahead.
Red Eye Radio live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
866-90 Red Eye is the phone number, 866-907-3339. You can text into the show. Can't call in, text in. 615-737-9986. I was talking about this guy that apparently threatened the life of Hakeem Jeffries. Pardoned January 6er has been arrested for allegedly threatening the life of Hakeem Jeffries. Jeffries says the reckless pardons of January 6th rioters have consequences. And so I'm reading this earlier tonight. And as I'm reading it, I'm like, oh my gosh. If you just replace or switch January 6th rioters, and I'm going to put that in air quotes, with illegal aliens, it all makes sense. So again, this is what he says. This is Hakeem Jeffries. Because, to them, the devil, to Democrats, the devil is not an illegal alien gang member who takes a human life. To the left, the devil is a J6er. I mean, that is clear. That is clear as anything. So here's what Jeffrey says. I think the reckless and irresponsible pardon of hundreds of violent felons on January 6th has consequences. You place that. I think the reckless and irresponsible opening of the southern border with violent felons for the last 4 years has consequences, and we most certainly have had those consequences. He continues on. There are consequences to that beyond me. The consequences are we've seen crimes committed by people who Donald Trump pardoned on the first day he was sworn into office. So, let's do it another way. The consequences are we've seen crimes committed by people who Joe Biden allowed into our country illegally on the first day he was sworn into office. You see how this works? The lack of self-awareness is amazing. He talks about how some of these folks who have been released back into society all across the country, some of them violent crimes. Well, yeah, we've got a lot of illegal aliens, Hakeem, that you all led into our country that have committed violent crimes. And finally, Donald Trump is doing something about it. He continues on. And so there are consequences to these irresponsible actions. And I would say back to Hakeem Jeffries, yeah, there are. You lost the White House for a lot of different reasons. But certainly Donald Trump won based on many factors, including illegal immigration. He continues on. There are consequences when these extremists who are part of the Trump administration labeled the entirety of the Democratic Party as terrorists or criminals. Okay, let's play the game. There are consequences when these extremists who are part of the Biden administration or the Democrats labeled the entirety of the Republican Party as Nazis or Hitler. Do you see how you can change the vernacular just a little bit and it's them going after Republicans and they don't even see it? He says, we all know what we've signed up for, but there is pain being visited upon the American people because of actions taken by Donald Trump. I would say back to Hakeem Jeffries, if you'd like to talk about pain, let's talk about the pain of the families of Americans killed by illegal aliens that Joe Biden led into our country. Let's talk about that pain, shall we? You don't want to talk about that? Okay. I mean, that's the thing about these Democrats is, if you want to start talking about pain from the Biden administration, we can talk about, the interest rates that were sky high, way over 9%. We could talk about the cost of goods. If you'd like to talk about pain, let's talk about the pain of the pullout of Afghanistan. the failed pullout of Afghanistan. I mean, I can go on. I'm not going to. But the lack of self-awareness, one of the things that I thought was interesting is that, and I said this for the longest time, where, and listen, clearly I'm not a fan of what happened on January 6th. But what I found particularly fascinating was how indignant and angry that all of the senators and the congressmen, all of the representatives and so forth, they were all upset. And I said for a long time, you're so upset over the fact that you had these folks that, broke into your house. And I get it, as in the Capitol. But you've got no problem, Democrats, that crime is rampaging out of control across America, and people are getting carjacked. They're people are breaking into homes. People are being murdered. I mean, I could go on. And I have never seen a party, the Democrats, who have just not given a crap about the consequences of their soft on crime policies. But that's what they do. See, they have such a lack of self-awareness that they have no idea how ridiculous they actually sound. JD Vance is in Israel. One of the things that as I'm watching, in case you hadn't noticed, I'm a big JD Vance fan. And so he is in Israel. They're trying to hammer out the situation between Hamas and Israel. You've got, of course, I'm sure Qatar and Egypt. They are probably helping in the negotiations as well. But one of the things that I like about J.D. Vance is he also said there's not going to be any U.S. boots on the ground in Gaza. But he also talks about Donald Trump, the team that he has put together. And by the way, behind J.D. Vance, this was earlier today or Tuesday. You've got J.D. Vance, Vice President, there at the microphone. Jared Kushner is behind him. And you've got Steve Witkoff also behind J.D. Vance. And J.D. talks about not only the amazing team that Donald Trump has put together, but also, what he refers to or intimates is some divine intervention.
Let me just leave us with one final thought here. So I've been to Israel once in my entire life. I came for about 36 hours. And as a Christian, I think the world's Christians will know that this country, that this region of the world means a great deal to me. And at some point today, I hope to go, or at some point in the next couple of days, I should say, I hope to go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which Christians believe is the site that Jesus Christ was crucified in. And I know that Christians have many titles for Jesus Christ, and one of them is the Prince of Peace. And I'd ask all people of faith, in particular my fellow Christians, to pray that the Prince of Peace can continue to work a miracle in this region of the world. I think that we have made incredible strides over the past week. We're going to have to make a lot more, but I think with your prayers, with God's providence, and with a very good team behind me, I think we're going to get it done. Thank you all.
All right, so that was J.D. Vance, again, earlier today in Israel. One of the things that Donald Trump has come, you got to love Trump, is he's come out and he said, I've got countries all across the Middle East, and they are ready to decimate and destroy Hamas. And I love that. I do. Because, and I get it that Hamas doesn't fear death. They celebrate death, and it's really the only good thing that they have is that they can do is kill people. That's the only thing they're good at, is killing people. And so the president has said, listen, I've got Israel and I've got all these other Middle Eastern countries that would absolutely love to take a whack at Hamas. And there's a lot of people that would like to see that. Here's more from J.D. Vance.
This peace deal was struck under the president's leadership literally a week ago. The hostages were turned, 6 days ago, 5 days ago? So we're in the phase now where we're actually starting to conceptualize what that international security force would look like. I think it's important for Americans to know a couple of things. Number one, there are not going to be American boots on the ground in Gaza. The President of the United States has made that very clear. All of our military leadership has made that very clear. What we can do is provide some useful coordination. How do you take, the Gulf Arab states, plus Israel, plus plus the Turks, plus the Indonesians, how do you actually get those folks to work together in a way that actually produces long-term peace? The only real mediators are the United States of America. And so that's the role that we're going to play. I think the American people should be proud of it, but they should know that there are going to be no American boots on the ground in Gaza.
All right, so JD Vance saying a number of different things. Most people, I believe, and is this true? I think this is true, that most people do believe that JD Vance is going to be the next president of the United States. Most people also believe that Donald Trump is the only guy that could have put this coalition of nations together to support peace between Israel and Hamas. Now, the question is, what is going to happen? Will this peace deal continue, or is it going to fall apart? Now, as long as those hostages were released, and I think they're still trying to get Hamas to release the bodies of those hostages that Hamas murdered, but as long as they don't have any living hostages, they got no power. And so I think that is one of the reasons why you do have President Trump and J.D. Vance saying, you know what? We're going to do everything that we need to do to keep this peace going. But if they simply refuse, if Hamas refuses to do what they need to do to honor this peace deal, then they're done. This is what Donald Trump posted on Truth Social. You ready? Numerous of our now great allies in the Middle East and areas surrounding the Middle East have explicitly and strongly, with great enthusiasm, informed me that they would welcome the opportunity, at my request, to go into Gaza with a heavy force and, quote, straighten out Hamas if Hamas continues to act badly in violation of their agreement with us. The president continues, the love and spirit for the Middle East has not been seen like this in nearly 1,000 years. The president says it is a beautiful thing to behold. I told these countries and Israel, not yet. Donald Trump, this warmonger that people accused him of being, remember all that? That certainly doesn't apply. Donald Trump said, not yet. That there is still hope that Hamas will do what is right, he says. If they do not do what is right, the president says an end to Hamas will be fast, furious, and brutal. He says, I'd like to thank all of those countries that called to help. Also, the president saying, I would like to thank the great and powerful country of Indonesia and its wonderful leader for all of the help they have shown and given to the Middle East and to the USA. To everyone, thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. So, yeah, I mean, the president, and I've said this before, and I don't mean this with any disrespect to Benjamin Netanyahu at all, but I think that he is really itching to get back there and finish the job. I do. But I think that he was forced into this peace agreement. I think that the president, some bad blood when he decided to, Benjamin Netanyahu, when he decided to bomb Qatar, or Qatar, when the Hamas leaders were there. And so I think that actually ultimately put him at a disadvantage. And so that was really the moment where Donald Trump basically said, all right, enough of this. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to tell Hamas that if they don't negotiate in good faith, then I'm going to tell Israel, go in and do what you need to do. Now, we'll have to see ultimately what happens with Hamas now and see if they actually behave. 866-90-RED-EYE, 866-90-RED-EYE. We'll return next on Red Eye Radio.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
Red Eye Radio, 866-90-RED-EYE. You know, I've been on the air all night, and I forgot to play my favorite audio bite of the day. This is Donald Trump on AOC.
Not like that AOC. How about her, where she said she's talking about having rebellions and everything. She said, well, my door is always open. But she's not the leader. I'm sure the leaders felt very nicely about when she said her door is open. Who the hell wants to go into her door anyway? She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. She's the one that started. You know, I remember, I'll never forget, she never took a course on the environment. And I watched her one day, and she was on television. She said, yes, our planet will be dead within 12 years. That was a long time ago. Our planet was supposed to be dead. Remember the 12-year theory?
Yeah, we're still here. We're still here. And they're still talking. The Democrats are still talking out of their, well, you know where.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.